Hi there, and welcome to Innovantage, the podcast where business meets tech to bring you a competitive edge. I'm your host, Max, and today we're still talking about AI and its impacts on different areas of our life. And to help me with this task, especially today, I am being joined by Mr. Robin Pauwels, who will help me talk about AI through the prism of community management, community enablement, and general kind of trends that Robin helps observe. Robin is a wonderful speaker and a wonderful person that I've known for a while now. Robin is the CEO of the community called The Beacon in Antwerp. For those of us who don't know geography, Antwerp is in Belgium. Belgium is in Europe, and Europe is on the planet Earth. So it should be at least relevant. Stay tuned and see what we will discuss. Robin, hi.
Hi, Maxim. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. And how are you?
I'm fine. Like we discussed, the weather is finally a bit better here in Belgium, and I think in the center part of Europe. So makes people a lot happier and puts a smile on everyone's face here.
Likewise. Like we talked before the camera started rolling. Yeah, it's here in Vilnius in Lithuania. It's also getting a lot warmer finally, and we've had some northern lights, which is a rarity, but still fine.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Robin, can you tell us a little bit what it is that you do at the Beacon? So what does a chief operational officer of a community do? And from what I recall about your history, you started out like with Java engineering, then transitioned to like data specifics, and then had an entrepreneurial journey. So you must have a very interesting story to tell of how you ended up where you are.
Well, interesting. I think I had my own challenges growing up or starting my career. I started by going to school, by studying in a bachelor's degree of applied informatics.
Oh, nice.
With a specialization in application development. And exactly there, I had my first real contacts with technology, with software, creating software, programming. I learned programming in Java, as you mentioned, with also afterwards a specialization in Scala, because when I did my internship, I started working for a big data and AI company, InfoFarm.
How long ago was this? Sorry to interrupt.
I started studying in 2013, and I finished in 2017. So
nice.
I had one year of a delay. But then when I did my internship in 2017, it was a good internship because they immediately gave me the opportunity to start working there. InfoFarm is a company part of the Kronos Group, which you may have heard of. It's one of the biggest IT consultancy companies in Belgium, with around 400 companies under them. And I immediately got the opportunity to start working there as a big data developer, it was called back then. Started to learn building data platforms to make data streams ready for AI algorithms. So we did two things. We had our data engineers in that company, and then also our data scientists who built the machine learning and AI algorithms. And I was on the forefront of that, building the data processes, setting up the streams, and therefore I also learned to develop Scala. I did this for about 2 years, I think, and then I started. I was not that good of a developer. I had a pretty good notion of building software, but there were a lot of people much better than me. So I did not feel like this was my end goal, being a software engineer. So I wanted a bit more. And then I asked my boss, like, do you have other opportunities for me in this company? For example, I am intrigued by sales, by business development. I'm a social guy, so maybe this can be something for me, combined with a technical background and doing a sales job is a very good combination, because then you know what you're talking about. Huh? Sorry?
A unique one, yeah. It's combining
Yeah.
sales and tech. That's not something you see a lot, because I also have a background in business development and sales, and yeah, well, I don't often see salespeople that have the technical background. So yeah.
Yeah, so I saw a lot of opportunity in that, especially when you're in this big enterprise company like Kronos. They do not like to call them enterprise, but of course they are huge. And then the potential to grow is very big. So then I started my first encounters as a business developer, doing sales, doing cold calling, selling projects for my company. And by doing that, you immediately get into contact with more C-level managers, more management people, more business related people. And that's actually where my entrepreneurial bug started how do you say it started itching. Because you now have a technical background, you learn the thing about doing business, you've learned these entrepreneurs, these big businessmen, and this really was like an inspiration for me to also start to do something on my own. And then after a couple of years of doing sales, I quit my job there, and I had this you can call it a stupid or an amazing idea to try to create 1 million euros in 1 year by just doing a lot of stuff. I got inspired by a billionaire in the US. He had this TV show, and I thought, hey, if he can do it, why shouldn't I be able to do it? But of course, I had a lot of personal challenges. I started an online advertising agency with a friend of mine. This did not work out as we planned. I started my own web shop for a very niche target group. I also built websites on my own, but of course, this all was not enough to obtain this 1 million goal. But that was also not the most important for me. It was really more important to get aware with failure, to learn how to fail, to get back up, to learn how to fail, to get back up, and to be in this process of growth, and especially to expand your network, to learn new people, to learn new skills. And that was actually the most important thing for me. But then, of course, if you start some things up and money is not flowing in as you thought it would, and then you hear that you are becoming a father, then urgency calls to apply for a job again. And then I saw the vacancy of the Beacon as a community manager, and when I read the vacancy, I was really like, Jesus, this is me. They are describing me, my personality, what I like to do, who I am. And then I applied, and luckily I got the job. And then I started as a
What's the job entail? What is it that you do at the Beacon? What does the Beacon do for those of us outside of Antwerp and outside of Belgium?
Yeah. So I'll start by explaining what the Beacon does. So the Beacon is an innovation hub in Antwerp. It was founded with a very specific goal to become this IoT and AI hub, mainly to build a community of technology companies that are doing a lot of things with AI or IoT. Now, the goal was to build a community around AI and IoT, but as of today, it has turned out to be much wider than that. So we now have a community of about 100 companies that have membership at the Beacon, and in that membership, they can come to our events for free. So we organize a lot of events, inspiration events, networking, matchmaking events, to bring the companies together, but also to bring them closer to their target group, to also be this platform that they can use to enhance their business development activities. The Beacon is now a more like digital technology hub, with a very specific focus on port and maritime industry, on chemical manufacturing, oil and gas industry, and also on smart mobility and smart city. So these are our focus domains. And around that, we have now 100 companies that have very specific solutions or services for those industries.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, so that's the beacon. We have a very close collaboration with government, the R&D institutions, and the private industry. It's our goal to bring more research that our universities and IMEC are doing to bring them closer to industry. And we have a building also. So we manage about 10,000 square meters of office space, meeting rooms, event space, a recording studio, and a co-working space, where we now have about 40 companies of our community that have a residency here. So they have a physical working spot right here in the building. We have the University of Antwerp that has a floor here. We have IMEC that has a floor here. We have two of the biggest startup accelerators in the building, Started KBC and IMEC iStart. So this makes this building very vibrant and a very nice environment for entrepreneurship, for digital technology, for people to come and meet and network and get inspired. So
that's very cool.
That's in a nutshell, maybe the beacon. Maybe to answer your question about what does a community manager do, it's a very flexible. It's an environment where you need to be very flexible. The core of my job is to keep our community together, to be the glue of all these companies, to know each company, to have a contact person everywhere, to listen to what their needs are, to know what kind of technologies they use, what kind of business or use cases they have, who are their target audience. And in that way, it's my job to help them also connect with each other and with the industrial companies. So I help in organizing events. I pass by the offices to listen to the people's needs, to also do some casual stuff because informal events are also very important to bring people together, to foster relationships. So yeah, just being also the go-to guy for everyone. I want everyone to know that if they have questions or they have concerns or expectations, that they can always come to me and they can discuss it with me. That's also very important. And also establishing good partner relationships. Like, for example, we have a relationship with Flanders Investment and Trade to internationalize. We have partnerships with other network organizations because we are only one part of the puzzle, but we need to make the puzzles fit. And we do this by organizing events together with other ecosystems or other organizations. And that encompasses my role. But of course, it's you're also managing a building. So when the Wi-Fi is down or the print are down, you also need to help in that way. So yeah, it's every day is different here. That's what makes it very pleasant to work here. We have very nice location, a very nice view from our 8th floor, and yeah, every day there's a new challenge. Maybe a new member joining the community, a new technology. So it's very exciting to work here.
That's a very interesting position to be in. So you're basically like a spider in the center of a web, connected to many different things, and those many different things create a hub where you basically are at the center. So speaking about challenges, a lot of currently a lot of talks are currently being held around AI, naturally, right? How it will impact different areas and different industries, and what kind of challenges will it solve or not solve or create new ones. And I'm guessing, as a spider in the center of the web, you hear a lot of those yourself. So maybe you can talk a little bit about what you've heard. Like, what are maybe the applications of AI that are, cutting edge that your community members are talking about? Maybe in the oil and gas industry you mentioned, or maybe in smart cities, or in chemicals, or anywhere else. I would love to hear that.
A lot of things are going on right now. Maybe if I can give some examples, we have a lot of drone companies here in our community, and one specific company of those drone companies is very famous for their inspection technology. So they have a lot of different drones, flying drones, driving drones, floating drones, to do inspections of assets that are not that easy to get to for human beings. So they use camera and sensor technology, of course, to measure and capture certain things. And for example, this drone company is now active in the port of Antwerp, where they inspect big windmills or big container cranes for erosion, for example. So they have this camera on the drone. They record the whole asset, and then the data is being put into their iSpect platform, it's called. And there they have this AI computer vision engine that can tell them whether certain spots on the asset needs to be maintained or needs to be fixed. That's an example. But also in the container business, a lot of very interesting AI solutions are being implemented right now. There is, for example, a company in our community that is counting containers based on the codes or the text that is on a container. So cameras are being put on straddler carriers, and then when they drive through the port environment or through the container terminal, a computer vision algorithm is trying to detect containers, and then they are also being counted. And because they drive around all day, this gives them a very good idea of how much containers approximately are on the terminal within a certain specific time.
And are those projects? Are those projects already commercially implemented, or are those just proof of concepts?
So the container counting is just a proof of concept right now, but like the drone case, these are commercialized or being commercialized right now. We also have a company that has this AI engine to efficiently predict how many container traffic you will have, and to also predict where you need to stack your container. Because it's important that you do not stack a container below if it needs to be picked up the next day. Because then you have to take away all the above containers and so forth. So also AI engines are being used to forecast this. So these are very, very interesting and very important solutions that are being used right now. There's also, of course, by AI engines, planning optimization in big manufacturing environments, which is also used to efficiently forecast the products that you need to manufacture a certain product, to also forecast the time it needs to get off how do you call it, a manufacturing band, for example. What for me, what I see now, and what excites me are everything that has to do with generative AI right now, and in particular AI co-pilots. So Microsoft has bought OpenAI, and they are now building, or they now already have this Copilot that you can buy for your Microsoft environment. For example, a lot of companies work with Teams and with SharePoint. There's a lot of data in there, not in our SharePoint because we are only 5 people. But if you can imagine, in a companies with hundreds of people, there's a lot of data scattered around these Microsoft systems. And then they use these large language models or generative AI, or however you would like to call it, to build these personal co-pilots that you can just ask questions about your company, and then it goes and searches the data of that's everywhere in your Microsoft environment and gives you exactly the answer you need. So these are, for me, very exciting innovations, because they can really drastically help you in finding things better, learning also better about some certain processes in your organization. So these are really for me very exciting.
That is true. I agree. And as many companies, ours also uses SharePoint in the Microsoft environment. And when we heard of Copilot, we had basically the same reaction. Like, we can actually make a lot of our data actionable, because again, we're not a huge company. We're about 100 people overall, but it's still, it's enough that you have a history of documents, a history of data, a history of signals that you can use and build some hypotheses on top of it. And we were very excited and we wanted to implement it. But the main kind of hurdle that we've come across is that the whole Copilot suite costs a pretty penny. It's like something like $300 per user, and everybody has to be a user. So everybody who uses the team environment is by default a user. So it's kind of a lot. And then you have this challenge that you need to overcome of, okay, is it worth the investment? So what kind of actionable insights can I get for the investment that you make? Like a business decision, right? As an entrepreneur, I'm sure you understand the logic here. And that's just one tangible problem that we came across. And I'm sure you have plenty more examples of the challenges that usually are there when you're trying to implement AI into your workflows, be it Copilot or ChatGPT or any other type of generative LLM or whatever else. So maybe you can share some of those examples.
Yeah. So from the things I hear and from my experience, I think there are 3 main challenges by implementing AI within your organization. Of course, you can buy a software tool that does everything for you, where you need to import some Excels. But if you want to truly innovate within your organization and build like these custom-made AI tools really specific for your organization, I think one of the most important challenges is the data quality. I think still a lot of organizations do not have their data structured well enough to feed these machine learning or AI algorithms to get the results they want. Everyone knows shit in is shit out. And that's, I think, one of the biggest challenges still right now, that a lot of companies use these old systems. Data is scattered all over the organization in these silos. So data engineering and the big data aspect of it is, in my experience, still a big challenge. The second one is trust. Trust from your employees. We, for example, we focus on very traditional industries, the maritime, logistics, port companies. These are very traditional industries, and they do business based on gut feeling still every day. I think there are a lot of trust issues about AI still. Is AI going to take over my job? Is AI going to, I think especially that AI is going to take over my job. When AI is being implemented here, I won't have any work anymore. So the change management within those organizations is also very important. To make them aware that AI can really be this co-pilot, and let's just call it like that, this very interesting co-pilot that helps you do your job more efficiently. Of course, there are examples about robotics and AI replacing very repetitive jobs. That's true. But yeah, let's be honest. These are most of the times tasks that people do not like to do. And it gives you, and then it's also the responsibility of the employer to ensure that people are re-educated to do other things in the company, or that they are reallocated, or those kind of things. I think this is also a very important challenge. And then, of course, the skills. The war on talent is also, very prominent right now.
Yeah.
There are a lot of new developers coming from school, but it's not enough. A lot of companies are looking for new talent. A lot of companies, I think every company in our community is looking for new engineers, new AI developers, and they are just very, very difficult to find. So I think those are in the industry. For me, those are the three main challenges right now.
I see. Well, the data aspect of it is, of course, cannot be ignored. Like any AI model has data behind it, right? It's not just something that exists. It exists on top of the data that you provided. And like you said, bad quality in, bad quality out. And in terms of the professionals, the amount of professionals that are required, it feels like the market is in a bit of a different situation than it used to be so many years. Like a lot of people are being fired in the top leaders of our industries globally. I'm not sure how much that affected Belgium specifically. Belgium is a very robust protection for its employees, and people in general are very socially protected. But looking at it globally, the global trend is definitely we don't need as many engineers as we used to. And a lot of people are losing their jobs because some executives feel like they could be easily replaced by AI or by outsourcing the work to somewhere else where it's much cheaper, or by just, not doing anything at all and just showing your shareholders that you are a very effective, very profitable company. And that's it. So what do you think about that? Do you see that trend in Belgium as well, where some companies are choosing to negate that, but choosing to reduce the workflow, the workforce, and find other solutions? Or is it more stable in Belgium?
Well, I think it's quite stable here, especially in the technology companies, because they are always looking for new people to expand their business. But it is not a secret that, of course, the chemical industry here in Antwerp is not doing so great. I think there were also some signs of a lot of people getting fired. We are now seeing, I think, the aftershock of a recession at a lot of companies. Also here in Belgium, they are struggling. They are just making less profit than before.
People at the top aren't struggling. People somewhere towards the end.
I mean, it's like you said, it's just making your shareholders happy. I'm not always a big fan of that, because they still keep on earning a lot of money or enough money. But there are some companies going bankrupt. There was, for example, the big bus builder here in Belgium that's now bankrupt. I think it has been taken over right now. But also there, a lot of restructuring probably is going to happen, and people are going to lose their jobs. It's the aftershock of the recession, you could say, that we had of the COVID pandemic. But technology industry, I really don't see this. I still see growth, a lot of growth. Expect, of course, for companies that are just not. You also have a lot of startups, of course, that are starting, but they do not get off the ground, and then they need to scale down. That also happens. but that's the life of a startup. But in general, in the big industry, tech industry here in Belgium, I think it's quite balanced still. And because you also have a lot of VCs and investors pumping a lot of money in these companies, so I think it's quite okay here, to be honest. But of course, I do not have that all of that knowledge in me, so that's just a feeling I have. If there are other people stating me different, it's possible.
Yeah, well, it's also very nice to have that more localized feeling because globally it's easy to extrapolate. It's easy to say that everything is bad or everything is good or AI is everywhere. Well, maybe in some industries. For example, I talked today with a person from the wood industry, wood production, chopping wood, producing, I don't know, wooden beams or whatever. And that industry is very, very conservative. They aren't that much digitized, not to talk about AI. They don't really have, like ERP systems or CRM systems to keep track of all the things. They're very down to the ground. And when you say like everybody is implementing AI, like sure, but in their industry, that's not the case. And it's nice to see that, everybody is firing everybody, but in Belgium, maybe in Antwerp, in the Beacon community, it's not the case. So for our listeners, if you're trying to decide where to live and where to go, Antwerp, the Beacon, you heard it here. That's where you need to be. But yeah, talking about this a little bit more, it's still, it's tech. Right, and tech is very much subject to the hype cycle, and hype cycles in tech always come and go. And I know that you've been engaged or worked with the area of blockchain and Bitcoin and crypto overall, and that has also been a very hypey thing in the past, which I feel like nowadays has lost most of its hype. People have kind of moved on to other things like AI. What do you see, like having that perspective, having that knowledge? Is it the same where it's the same type of hype with the same type of limitations, with it, where people will just see it for what it is? Some people will make money, some people will move on, or is it something different with AI? Maybe AI has more tangible applications that you see in terms of the community that you've built in the Beacon.
Yeah, AI definitely has more tangible use cases. I think blockchain is still a very complex concept to understand for non-technological people. I think AI you can explain more easily because, let's face it, we are using AI in our daily lives for over a decade right now. So in this easy explainable things, but blockchain is it's much more difficult to explain. Even for me, we have some blockchain companies in our community. We had actually a blockchain event in February, I think, and 3 companies did a presentation there, and they also explained like, right now, we are actually in this blockchain winter. We also had it with AI. For a long time, we were in this AI winter, where AI was like this fluffy concept that everyone only understood as in Terminator movies and whatever. But now with generative AI coming to the market and coming to the public, this has all changed. People are now more intrigued about AI and are now also more aware about the upcoming of AI and the new technologies.
Yeah.
When you use an iPhone, for example, and you take a picture, when you press on a picture, it's automatically how you say it, cuts out yourself. This is AI. It's purely AI doing things like this. And people are more and more understanding it right now, without understanding the basic concepts, of course, but they are understanding what it is, what it can do, what it can mean for them. And with blockchain, that's just not the case, not yet. That does not mean that it's a very interesting technology, of course. We have we have a company here that has this blockchain solution for the logistics industry. Like for here in Antwerp, you have a very big problem in terms of drugs and cocaine coming into the port and into the city. And this was just because, or one of the things the criminals used was whenever a container needs to be picked up from a terminal, the truck driver needed to show a PIN code. And this PIN code was passed by a lot of different actors, from forwarding to logistics bureau people to the terminal operators and so forth. It was passed on by mail, by phone, and so forth. So the criminals very easily could detect which people get access to these codes, and then they would blackmail them to give them the code, or otherwise they would find their children or those kind of things. And now this company in our community has this blockchain solution to very much securely doing this container pickup. It's secure container pickup, it's called, where they can always exactly know who is using the code at what time. So this means it's almost impossible now. Of course, it's not always entirely impossible. Criminals will always find a way. But with this blockchain technology, very transparent all the time. And that's something you did not have before. So they are working with the biggest shipping companies right now. So that's a very understandable, a very societal use case that is important for that issue, that problem that we have. Not only here in Antwerp, of course, it's happening all over the world, but Antwerp is very famous for the drugs coming into the city, which is not good for the overall view of the city.
Yeah, that's true. That's a very interesting use case. That's kind of that's a direct address to the criticism of most blockchain systems, where they are infallible and they are public. So the public part of it becomes the strength of it, and it's a very interesting application, definitely.
Yeah. It's also what people say, it can be used by criminals to laundry money. Yeah, I think the criminals are still using cash or fiat money this time of the day a lot more than blockchain, because everything is you can find everything on the blockchain network. Every transaction is somewhere on. It's not always traceable to a specific person, but still it's traceable. And I don't think that a criminal wants something to be traceable. Of course, again, they will always find ways to work around that. But I think cash and fiat is still one of the most used types of currency for criminals.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Plus, there's going to be more regulation in the crypto space.
Exactly.
And that regulation will hopefully bring more stability and more predictability to the space as well.
Yeah, because it's still a wild west. And I mean, that's also not good. There needs to be some regulation. So, it's good that the government is being involved in this industry, because there are so many scammers in the industry, and for a lot of people, they are just being robbed every day of their money, being promised all kinds of things, and this should be regulated more, in my opinion.
True. I can agree on that, definitely. But
the
coming back to
technology
AI,
is still,
the technology is solid. That is true. So let's compare it with AI. Right, blockchain has the benefits of being on the market for longer, but at the same time, as you are yourself aware, working with Java and Scala and data, like AI has existed for a while as well. Just nobody has known it as AI. Predictive algorithms and machine learning and data science and data engineering, all of those wonderful things have existed for a while. So at the same time, what do you see are the future maybe of AI applications or the limitations of AI applications? How does it compare to the hype cycle that we've seen with blockchain and crypto and whatever else?
Wow, that's always a very difficult question.
No.
But
Predict the future.
Yeah,
Go.
predict the future. I don't have enough data for that. No, but I think what you see is a lot more adoption right now, which is good. But still, we need to be aware also about the dangers because there are still a lot of dangers with AI. Like, for example, that it's not always how you say it. Racial proof, like for example, there are a lot of examples that it can be sometimes there could be racist output out of an AI because it is not trained well enough, or it does not have the right data or whatever. So these are really also fundamental things that we need to be aware of. That we need to really train these AI algorithms or build these solutions that have economic benefits and societal benefits. This is really important. But again, this generative AI, this open AI platform is just so helpful. I mean, I use it not every day, but whenever I need to, write something or I need to look something up, even sometimes I do not go to Chrome. I just ask it to ChatGPT, and then it gives me this range of answers, which is they're not always perfect, the answers, but it really helps you and can also inspire you. And there's also a lot of criticism that we through that way will lose the ability to think for ourselves. But I do not believe that. I think it can only enhance us. It can only inspire us to do things more efficiently, to do things better, to grow faster. I mean, calculating with your head, who does that anymore right now? Are you therefore not smart anymore? No, I don't believe that. I mean, I always use a calculator, but that does not mean I'm a dumb person right now because I forget how to add complex numbers.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's what I see. It will really help us to do just things more efficiently in the future, in a working environment, but also on a private, in your private life. So I see a bright future. I always try to be positive, but still that does not mean we don't have to be aware of also some dangers it can encompass, and regulations, of course, very important.
Yeah, I think that's a very important thing because data in and of itself is a very hot topic of discussion, specifically for the EU. I feel like in the EU, we've done a lot more to protect ourselves and the data that we share and with whom do we share it. But we still have a long ways to go. Most algorithms have been trained on data without our, explicit consent. Yeah, sure, you clicked I agree sometimes somewhere like 10 years ago. But I doubt you could have imagined what it will amount to. And, so some emails you wrote to your girlfriend like 10 years ago in university or whatever could have been used to train ChatGPT. Who knows?
It's still somewhere out there. Eh? I mean, everything we did online is still somewhere in a database, just lying there, probably being used, as you said, to train these whatever algorithms. These regulations are also very important.
Yes, it's nice seeing that there are some strides being made, and hopefully the rest of the world will follow suit because it feels like a very crucial thing for the development to be more positive rather than negative. Because AI without regulations is a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
In terms of industries, we've mentioned a lot today already. Which ones do you think would benefit the most from implementing those AIs? So we've had a couple of examples where I feel like the wooding industry, maybe not ready for it just yet.
Yeah.
But from your point of view, what do you see?
I think healthcare is definitely one of the top industries for me that can benefit from AI, because it can just help you to detect diseases faster. It can help to create medicines faster and more efficient medicines also. So that's, for me, that's really a very important industry to expand the life of people, or just to help people in general. I think also in cancer research, AI can be a very helpful tool. There are now also these AI algorithms that can skin cancer, that can detect skin cancer by just taking a picture or just filming your arm. Then it also has this computer vision algorithm that has been trained with thousands or tens of thousands of pictures of people with skin cancer. So it can help you to take action much faster. Whenever you think you have something, it can help also the doctors to see much faster if a patient is possible or can possibly have some kind of disease. So that's a very very important one. But yeah, it's just any industry can benefit from AI, because the possibilities are immense.
That's true.
If you can think about it, you can build it probably if you have the right data.
Yeah,
Again,
and the right people to work on that data.
And the right
as well.
people. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So don't fire every engineer just yet. For those of you that are in charge of hirings and firings, be careful. Yeah, but healthcare, I think, is a nice example because as many countries in Europe, I'm sure Belgium has experienced the limitations of the healthcare systems. I haven't used it over there, but in Lithuania, we see the waiting times getting longer. Access to specific specialists is always, it's hard to do, especially fast when you need to do something like this, because usually when you have a problem, it's probably because you've ignored that problem for long enough that you can no longer ignore it. And most people don't go to their doctor like every single, month or every single week, right? You notice something when it's already very noticeable. And the system itself is not really able to support that. You cannot go to the doctor, the specialist tomorrow if you have something today. You need to spend some time, you need to go on a waiting list, and you need to find some ways. And I'm sure in Belgium, it's very similar to that regard. And what you're describing is basically, okay, you have more information in the beginning, so you have more means of prevention. Plus, you can implement systems that help you go to the correct person straight away, because from experience, again, when you have something vague happening to you in terms of healthcare or in terms of your relatives' healthcare, you have to go to 10 different people before you can even have a diagnosis. And with AI, if you can scan your arm and see that, okay, yeah, you might have 75% of having that mole being cancerous. So maybe go to a specialist that specializes in moles specifically and have him check it out. It could save a lot of lives and make our whole situation that much more efficient. So it seems like a very nice application. But at the same time, there is that danger of misdiagnosis, right? It can be wrong, and you can spend your time going to the wrong person where you could have spent some time going to the right one.
But of course, the decision always stays with the individual, and the algorithms should not say yes, you have this, or no, you don't have this. It's just there is a certain probability of A, B, or C.
True.
And then you can still, as an individual, make your own decision about what your next step will be then. But indeed, the algorithms will never be perfect. So that's also something to take into consideration. But it can definitely help.
I feel like the AI has been trained on our data, and now we are getting trained on its data a little bit as well. So like you've mentioned in your example, you're using ChatGPT, and sometimes you go to it to ask something instead of Chrome. But at the same time, I'm sure you understand that ChatGPT can hallucinate. It does not provide factual information. It provides information that just looks factual, that looks like something that somebody could write. And I feel like you have that inherent distinction of like, okay, yeah, I understand what I can ask and what things that are definitely not worth asking, or at least not worth believing in the answer. And that's a skill.
Yeah.
That's basically understanding the limitations of the system that you're using and applying those limitations in an effective manner. And our children and your children will grow up in a world where you did not have that internally. Like, you always will have AI. You could always go to him and ask him, especially for children that ask a lot of questions. And understanding those limitations, understanding how to use those systems, I feel like is a very, very important skill that is going to get even more important in the future. But that's just me. What do you feel? Like, how do you see it?
Yeah, it's true, because they will take it for granted, everything they use right now. And I think it's the responsibility, again, of the education system to implement these things from a young age in school. It's the same with the internet. It too few educational systems or programs educate children about how to use the internet. And this should be the same with all these new exciting tools that come on the market. Every school should educate, and also the parent, of course, but not every parent has this skill set. We work in a technological environment, so we have a pretty good idea about how these things work. But for example, my girlfriend, she never worked in an environment like this, so she also does not know exactly how it works, and she would more easily take these things for granted, just as you mentioned, children starting using these tools. So yeah, there's also a big challenge. Educating people about how these things work. But that's not easy. That's really not easy, I think. But it's a challenge, indeed.
Yeah, but it's nice that, as a community manager, you do have some tools to influence what kind of topics are being discussed. And I feel like the public-facing thing, a little bit outside of the tech bubble, is important because, well, the tech bubble exists in and of itself, but we are interconnected with every other industry and every other societal aspect that there is. So educating people on it and giving the understanding of the limitations of those systems and what kind of things you give consent to as you click accept on cookies, or what kind of data you provide to whatever company that you work with is an important societal role to play.
To give you an example, I have a baby now, a baby son, and I explicitly ask my girlfriend and my family to please do not put too much pictures of him on your social media platforms. That's then again this kind of fear, this kind of fear that you have, because I just don't want his face to be in these mega data sets, because you never know what can happen. And that's an app. I try to be very positive, but again, you always need to be very aware about how you use digital platforms as of today. And the danger is that they are so incorporated in our daily lifestyle that people don't think about that anymore. But for me, for example, I do not use social media anymore. I quit using Facebook. I quit using Instagram. I never used TikTok or whatever. I only now have my LinkedIn for professional means that I also do not post a lot on sometimes. But I try to limit all my social platforms right now to just, I do not want to be a product anymore of these big companies, because that's what it is. If you do not pay for a platform, then you are the product. or if you do not pay for the product, then you are the product. That's also what they say. And that's also just something I try to be more aware of. Of course, I keep on using WhatsApp. I also don't know what happens with all of my messages or the pictures you send through there. So it is very difficult, even for people like me that are in this innovation or technological environment, to really be aware of the usage of all of these digital tools, because giving your information or data away like that, I'm not that big of a fan anymore to do it.
I can relate. I'm the same as you. So I don't use any other social media besides LinkedIn, and only because LinkedIn is something that is professionally important in my line of work. You kind of cannot avoid it, even if you wanted to. But all the other ones, no Instagram, no Facebooks, no TikToks, nothing. Maybe I'm just getting old. Maybe it's just that's the old people, they don't understand. They have their own kind of...
I think it's not getting old. I think it's just this awareness that we have that other people do not have. And also because you don't want to have this as being a part of your life. I mean, life is outside. Life is about meeting people, doing things, not bragging about it online. That's not life. It's not for me. My profiles are still online, but I do not use them anymore. I think it's more of an awareness thing than getting on.
Yeah, I would agree. Again, it's very hard to be self-critical, but I feel like it's exactly that. It's becoming more conscious of what kind of platforms you use and the reason you're using them for. And what I see a lot in younger people, and what I see in people my age and everybody, is a lot of unconscious use. Like, I use Instagram. Yeah, but why? What for? Like, I don't know. Like, everybody uses it. I use it. Okay,
exactly.
So... And the same goes for other platforms. Like you said, if you're using them for free, then, you are the product probably. And that's where AI gets its birthplace of the next best thing.
Because the algorithms these companies use, I think it's you cannot imagine what's being built there right now. The Googles and the Facebooks of this world, they have vast amounts of data. So that's really it's exciting in one way that they are able to do this, but it's always a bit scary in the other way. And that I think that will always be like that. Driving a car is exciting. It can also be scary. I mean, it's with a lot of aspects in life. So, but always be aware of what you are doing, why you are doing it, and try to understand what's behind some certain things.
Yeah, those are very nice words, very nicely put. I believe that, it's both interesting and scary, and even us in the tech bubble, we still can't even imagine what's going on behind closed doors in the leaders of the industry. So, to wrap up our wonderful conversation, a few words maybe about how you see the beacon going into the future. What kind of role do you see it playing a few steps down the line?
For us, it's very important to maintain this inspirational, to maintain our inspiration activities. So we really want to inspire industries, other companies about the possibilities, the positive possibilities of implementing AI solutions within your company, or just digitizing in general. Connecting, that's very important for us. We want to keep connecting the dots. We want to keep bringing people together. It's like we have this vision of becoming this ancient Greek agora. This was back in the days the center of the modern civilization in Greece, where everyone came together and collaborated, and entrepreneurs came there, philosophers, scientists, politicians, working class people. We also want to become this with our building, to become this place where people can come, can get inspired, can meet new people, can discuss, can collaborate. That's very important, that they come here and when they go out, they are just amazed about the future. That's really that's our main goal still.
That's a very wonderful vision. I feel like, being physically present and having a place to go and a place to meet new people and a place to talk outside of the influence of social media, outside of the algorithm, outside of the data is a very valuable thing. And I wish you all the best in that wonderful goal, and I hope you will succeed. So thank you. Thank you, Robin, very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. And I see you soon.
Yes, see you soon. And I thank everybody else for joining in and listening to us talk about AI in the context of community, in the context of different applications and different industries, specifically when talking about Belgium and Antwerp and that point of view. So, if you found it interesting, like, share, subscribe, comment, do whatever else you feel like. Please forget everything I said about algorithms being bad. The algorithms are good. The gods of the algorithms, please be good to us as well. Engage with the content, because that's what the algorithm gods want from us. See you soon on the next episode of Innovantage, and tell us what you want us to talk about next. Bye-bye.